please tell me your name?
Ian Johnson.
Thank you. What's your job title?
I'm the host of Extreme Off Road television show.
Where do you live?
I live in Nashville, Tennessee.
The ModernJeeper Show, the show about Jeeps, Jeeping, and Jeepers.
Hello, Modern Jeepers. Matson from Metalcloak here. Welcome to episode 237 of the ModernJeeper Show. Corey and Jessy are lost somewhere in North America. Honestly, I don't know where they are. There's probably an update someplace, but I've been too busy to keep track. So this week, we're bringing back one of our original flashback episodes, where I recorded short conversations with various off-road leaders during Off Road Expo 2015. Having just returned from Off Road Expo this last weekend, it seemed appropriate to revisit one of my favorite interviews of all time. An interview with Ian Johnson, who at that time was still hosting his original show. This was originally episode 14 of our nascent podcast. However, you can check out many of our other awesome episodes at youtube.com/ModernJeeper. As always, we're incredibly grateful for this episode to our supporters and friends, including Winches, Raceline Wheels, Bestop, Milestar Tires, Rugged Radios, Nacho Lighting, Adventure Rack Systems, and of course, Metalcloak. By the way, if you do like this episode, or even if you don't, please smash that like button, give a 5-star review, and share it with your friends. Now sit back, relax with a cold one, and enjoy episode 237, sort of the ModernJeeper Show.
All right, so Ian, thanks for coming out here and join us out here at Off Road Expo.
Anytime, Matson. Always fun to stop by your booth.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Considering it's kind of obligatory now, huh?
You could say that.
Yeah. Hey, that was a fun build.
It was a great build. It was a good time for sure.
How was? Have you done the release yet on it?
It started to air. It's already aired, so the 3 shows have aired. So we're just waiting. Curtin's waiting to get his hand controls installed in the Jeep. He's going through the VA to get all that knocked out. As soon as that's done, we're going to take him out, take him 4-wheel, and get him behind the Jeep for the first time.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's great. As a note, and this is for our podcast listeners, when you drop something down on the table, I can hear it.
I'm sorry. I apologize for that.
That's okay. I can do it. And I'll just show it. That's just for my listeners. Hey, so, I want this podcast for all about this this will be the very first episode of this podcast.
Okay.
To be more in depth about the individual, not so much about all the fluff that we see in this industry, right?
Okay.
So here's my great first question.
Okay.
Riding in an elevator. Somebody asks you, what do you do? How do you answer?
I build trucks on television.
That's it.
I normally tell people who don't know who I am that I sell women's shoes, because if they don't know who I am, then explaining my job is incredibly complicated.
Yeah.
But if they know who I am, if I say I build trucks on television, normally they know who I am, and then immediately they'll know what I do. But if you don't know what I do, explaining that I get paid to build trucks, build Jeeps, build off-road buggies on television, it just is foreign to people that aren't in this world.
So, but yeah, how many times have you told people you do women's shoes?
Usually when I don't want people to recognize me, I tell them. That's probably a good dozen.
Yeah, I'm more curious about what the response is to that.
That's usually that ends the conversation.
You haven't ran into a guy with a foot fetish then?
No, thank God.
Thank God.
That would be uncomfortable.
What's the greatest misconception you think people have about your job?
Greatest misconception about my job would be that there's other people that do all the work. So most television shows, and people are used to this, and it's the reality of most of the other shows out there, is the fact that the person who's on camera talks, shows the parts, and then there's a team of other mechanics that come in and do all of the work, and then you just keep making TV, which is the norm in this industry. RTM Productions has refused to live up to that because they've always said that you can't have a credible television show if people don't believe that the people hosting the show are actually doing the work. So any of our shows, whether it's Extreme Off-Road, Truck Tech, Detroit Muscle, or Engine Power, every single person who is on camera is the same person who does the work on all those project vehicles.
That's great. That's great. Now you have how many again are in RTM?
It's 4. We do 4 shows total. We have some other shows that we've done in the past where we repurpose some of our video. In total, and we dump them all onto once they're aired on TV, we put them on PowerBlock Network online, powerblocknetwork.com. And in that realm is every show we've ever made ever for 20 years. And on that list, there is almost 15 shows that you can watch online.
Wow.
3.9 million people hit that every month to watch an episode of something that we've made.
That's great. And how long have you been doing that?
11 years I've been doing TV with RTM. So I started with Extreme 4x4, and then 2 years ago we changed it over to Extreme Off-Road.
And are you the still remaining guy, longest guy there, as far as
Mike Galley on Engine Powers got me beat by like 8 months.
8 months.
Yeah, but that's it. But I'm still. But Mike Galley didn't start his show. He was brought in. Chuck and Joe started Horsepower at the time, and then Mike joined them a year and a half later. I'm still the only person who's launched his own show.
Wow. Launch, you started from the beginning, did
First show, Extreme 4x4, was hired to do that job, moved to Tennessee, started Extreme 4x4, and I'm the person who's been there ever since.
So talk about that. I'm sure our listeners want to know, how did you get the job? What was it like? Where'd you come from? What was the whole process?
It's kind of funny. I got the job by applying on the internet because I'd gone down to Long Beach, California, and did an episode of Monster Garage. At the time, I was still a high school shop teacher in Ontario, Canada. I was teaching automotive and welding and custom fabrication. And the show Monster Garage just come on the air, and I filled out an online application, and they flew me down, and I did an episode where we built Santa Claus parade float for the Long Beach Santa Claus parade.
Wow.
It was supposed to be in the Rose Bowl, but it got banned because the float was of a dead Santa with a skull face that popped up and shot candy, so it got kicked out of the Rose Bowl parade, and so they had to put it in the Long Beach parade. But anyway, so I kept in touch with all of the production guys from there, and we had talked a bunch about, coming back down and do another episode, and then it got canceled. So we ended up sticking around and doing a couple different things, and they called me up and said, hey, there's a production company in Tennessee that's looking for people to do how-to shows, and I think it would be good for you. And so he sent me the email and said, you should call this guy and check him out. And I emailed in, got on the list, and they flew 10 of us down. We did a screen test, and 2 weeks later I was making television in Nashville.
So your first thing in television was Monster Garage. You hadn't done anything before that?
Nope, nothing before that.
Wow.
Nothing.
So you already have a desire to do that, or just thought, hey, what the heck?
No, I just thought it'd be cool to be on Monster Garage. I liked the show. It was fun. I really did not want to be a TV guy. That was never a plan. I liked being a teacher. I liked being a mechanic. But when they drop this in my lap, you don't say no when someone says, hey, we'll let you build whatever you want in a shop.
Right.
With no budget. So we came down, and honestly, we thought it would last a couple of years, and then we'd move back to Canada, and we'd have a good experience. But we ended up, 11 years later, we're still doing it.
Now you're truly a Southerner.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, it's culture shock moving from Canada to the United States, but throw on top of that you moved from Canada to the southern United States, and there's a lot of differences in that world, for sure.
That's awesome. That's great. So you're there with your wife and...
Wife and one child, one kid, Zach, 14-year-old boy.
Is he following your footsteps? He likes mechanics? Or
Absolutely not. That's perfectly fine. No, he wants to be a forensic accountant when he grows up. So
wow.
Yeah, that's. But hey, whatever he wants to do.
Does he take after his mom then?
I guess so. Yeah, he loves math. I love math. I always do well in math, but he's got in his head that he wants to be a forensic accountant. So he's 14. He'll come in the shop a little bit, but it's not his world, and that's cool. I mean, whatever he wants to do.
Still likes to go wheeling with his dad, though.
Oh, he loves going wheeling. He'll go wheeling anytime as long as I got the car ready to go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. So a little bit about off-roading and stuff. So what's your favorite trail?
Wow, it'd depend where I am, because I'm fortunate I get to wheel anywhere I want. So I would say probably my favorite trail in the southeast would be my favorite park, which would be Hot Springs Off-Road Park.
Yeah.
It's just a fun place to wheel. It's a big park. It's great amenities. You can go there as a family. You can rent a cabin and stay in the park. And then in that park, my favorite trail would be Ingrid's Revenge, which is pretty. It was Ultimate Adventures running a bunch of times. They do a lot of Southern rock racing on it, and that's a trail that if we're in Superlift, we have to hit. And then west, Moab, probably one of my favorite places. And I would probably say that in Moab, one of my favorite trails is still Cane Creek. I love that trail. It's not hard, but it's just fun. It's a fun trail.
So at the other park, is that trail? What's it called again?
Ingrid's Revenge.
Ingrid's Revenge. Who's Ingrid?
I have no idea. There's all these trails get crazy names. Ingrid's Revenge, Joe's Rocks, and it's you never know. But
is that one that? What kind of rig do you have to do?
A Jeep will do it. I mean, it's not your typical nasty southern hill climb kind of shenanigans. Yeah. Those aren't trails. Those are bounty hills. That's the thing about Superlift. They have bounty hills. If you want to go and throw your rig up it and come out yard selling it out the bottom, you can. But Ingrid's you could run in a Jeep on 37s, 40s. I've run my 715 up it. I've run my Jeep YJ up it. They'll both make it. It's not a big fancy show or anything, but it'll get up it.
That's fun. That's awesome. And Moab, of course, we see each other there every year.
Absolutely.
You usually do, like last year you were out there with Daystar, right?
Yeah, Daystar usually brings me out every year. About 5 or 6 years ago, Mark Turner from Daystar, he said, I want to bring you out to Moab, and I hang out in their booth, and we do a trail ride, usually a Facebook readers ride and stuff like that. And then last year we actually filmed it for the show. So we usually roll out there, hang out with Mark for the week, and it's all what we've always done. We've done it for 5-6 years now, and I'll do it as long as they keep, as long as people keep going to Moab. That's the one problem with Moab, is once you go once, you go back every year. You can't miss it.
And this is the 50th anniversary.
Yeah.
Oh, it's huge.
It's going to be insane this year.
Wow, that's great. Favorite rig you've ever driven or owned?
My favorite one would be, I love the Zook.
Yeah.
I built that Zook, and it was one of my favorites. But right now, I go with my favorites change, but what I have. But aside from that, I love the 715 that I just got done building, just because it's got a cool story and it's fun to drive. But it's big. It's like wheeling a full-size truck. So it's a big rig. So probably outside of that, of everything I've built, the Zook would be at the top of the list.
Nice.
It's just cool to drive a diesel, little on 40s with it's just stupid,
And didn't you build a truck to tow or to carry the Zook? Wasn't it the
Yeah,
deuce and a half?
I bobbed the deuce and a half to throw the Zook in the back of, yeah. Yeah, and the only mistake I made with that is I put the stack on the driver's side, and so you had to wear one earplug if you wanted to drive it down the highway.
What scares you?
I don't know. Nothing really.
Yeah?
No, I mean, when it comes to wheeling, I never really get scared, because actually what scares me is if I'm driving a rig I didn't build. That's probably the only thing that scares me.
Yeah.
Because I don't know it. So if I'm everywhere and someone's like, hey, drive my truck, I'll drive it, but I don't want to hit anything really hard on it, because if I didn't build it or have my hands on it, I just don't know how it's going to react. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know everything about the car. So when it comes to stuff that I need to drive someone else's car, that kind of worries me.
Yeah.
That kind of, I just have an uneasy feeling about it. Not that it's built wrong. It's just that I don't know it. I don't know the car front to back.
Understood.
Yeah.
So what is the number one reason that people fail when they're doing their own builds, or that you've seen?
Honestly, I think it's all money.
Yeah.
I think it's two things. I think it's money. The guy slows down people, which I think people also get discouraged when it takes so long. And somebody said to me once, long time ago, when before I was on TV and building stuff, they said, if you want to stay motivated on your project, work on it every night. Even if it's just for 30 minutes or an hour, even if you're just going out and you just take a tire off to do something, you work on it for an hour every night, because when you put it off for to the weekend or till next weekend, then that's when projects just get stagnant, and then it becomes this huge mountain to climb where it's like, well, I got to put 8 hours in this weekend if I want to get something done. But if you just take little bites at it and realize that it can take 2-3 years to build a rig, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
If you're doing a really big build, that's how long it's going to take. You got to realize that.
How long have you been working on your Jeep project?
My wagon?
Your wagon.
My wagon got stalled because I found the 715 and I had to finish it. But I've been working on it for about 1.5 years now.
Nice.
And it's at the point that I've never liked bodywork, but I have to bite the bullet and actually do bodywork on it. So that's what stalled me on it. But the chassis done, the drivetrain's done, it's all ready to rock. I just got to do some bodywork and get it back together and get it ready.
I've been excited to see that when it happens.
Yes, me too.
You put it on a JK frame.
It's on a 4-door JK frame. It's got your Game Changer kit on it.
With the 6-packs.
With the 6-packs. It's got a built 550 horse LS1 in it. It's got a 4L80, full manual, Atlas, SpiderTrax Pro Series all the way around, 37s. And then I took the 53 Willys body, put a TJ front clip on it, and then did the 6-inch flared cloaks on the front, because it really made the front end fat like it would have originally been. I didn't get an original Willys grill with the Jeep, and everyone asked, why didn't you use the original grill? Because it looks so good, which it does look good, but I didn't get one. And I think, a wagon with a TJ front end with 6-inch flared tube fenders, no one's seen it before.
You do arched or overline?
Arched.
Arched.
Because it looks meaner.
Yeah.
I like arched. I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of the arched fenders. You know?
Nice.
I think they look cool.
Yeah. That's cool. So, but you did the overline on the YJ project, the truck project.
Yeah, the shop truck that we built, I really built that one. I wanted a brute, but I couldn't afford a brute. And I have a job on television, so that says a lot right there. But so I built a brute using the Aqualoo body and a throttle down customs frame. And originally I was going to finish it all out, make it shiny and make it all cool. But then one of those trucks, fake shop trucks, came into work and it was all painted Fauxtina, they call it.
Fauxtina.
Yeah, so I painted that one Fauxtina, and I never knew that truck would blow up so big after I made it look so bad. I thought people geek out over it, so it's awesome. It's a great truck.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but it's got the overlines on it, and it looks good on that truck because I painted them oxide primer and then did the truck in the teal, faded teal, and so they really kind of pop out on that truck, so it worked well.
So I want to go back. You said manual on the wagon?
Yeah, 4L80. It's just to keep the computer out of it.
Okay. I was going to say, why choose manual? That's a big question a lot of guys have, manual versus automatic.
Well, it's a 4L80, but it's a full manual valve body in it. But the reason why is the engine's on a standalone fuel management system, and I could do a standalone computer system on it as well, but the 80 kicks over to manual so easy, so I just did the 80 with full manual valve body on it.
Nice. Now, what happens to one of these rigs? Because you've built all these great rigs, and you have these ones, some of your favorites, some of you out there you're seeing, like the shop truck.
Yeah.
But now you're driving the new one. Where do these other rigs end up going?
I keep as many as I can. So I've got 7 of them that I own. And then the show has, the stuff that's built in the show is mainly owned by the show. It's owned by the show or it's owned by me. Sometimes we sell them off to some companies that want to use them for promo work and stuff like that. And then usually other times they'll kick around. Occasionally they get kicked out and sold to the public, but not very often.
So, you must have a very understanding wife, and you have 7 rigs sitting around the house.
My wife made a bad deal with me years ago, and she wanted a new car, and I didn't want a new car because I was a mechanic, and at the time we had just started teaching. We didn't have a lot of money, and I told her that a new car is a waste of money, but she wanted a brand new car off the lot. And I said, I'll make you a deal. If we don't have to borrow money to buy it, I can have as many old cars as I want. If you can have, and you can have you can have a new car whenever you want. So I remind her of that deal regularly when I bring home another car. It's just the way it is. It's the way it is.
You just have land out there?
Yeah, I mean it's the South, so there's lots.
Lots more.
Yeah, it's still cheap to live down there,
Nice. What would people be surprised to learn about you?
I don't know. That I'm old. I have no idea. I have no idea what people would be surprised to know, but that's a good question. I don't have an answer for that one. I have no clue. No clue at all. No, I got nothing for that one.
The hair's real.
The hair is real. Yeah, the hair is real. I wear it like this all the time, unless I'm playing paintball with my son, and then I don't wear it because it sticks out of the bunkers too much. Probably the one thing I think that people might not know about me is that my son and I both play on a semi-professional travel paintball team. So we travel the Southeast. We play in what's called D5, which some people call X-ball or airball. But he's a D4 rated player, which is much better than I am. And I'm just a fat guy that runs around and tries not to get shot by him. But we travel Ohio, Indianapolis, Ohio, Indiana, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, and play paintball throughout the summer and the fall. And it's just it's a sport that instead of going and watching your kid play, you can actually play with them, which is kind of fun.
That's very cool. How long have you been doing that?
He's been doing it for 2 years, and then this year I actually joined the squad, his practice squad, and so he plays on the team, the actual travel team, and then I play on the practice squad, so he gets to beat me up on a regular basis. Yeah.
That's a bonding experience.
Absolutely. And it's funny because when you tell people to play paintball, they expect you're in the woods and you're in camouflage. No, it's like the silly airball. You look like you're from outer space on a motocross bike, and it's 2,000. He'll roll. He rolls at about 12.5 to 10.2 balls per second, and he'll go through probably 200 to 300 balls in a standard 2-minute game. So it's
just the air-powered big capacity rifles.
You know what? It's just like everything else. I mean, in the Jeep world, you can have a stock Jeep or you can have a built Jeep. He has a paintball gun that's probably worth as much as a good lift kit.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy.
It's like RC cars costing as much as a fully built Jeep.
Exactly. Yes. There's different there's levels of everything. You can play paintball for $100, but that's not what he does. We're in the thousands of dollars range kind of deal. So,
wow.
Yeah. He's lucky he's spoiled, but he knows it. So it's all good. Yep.
That's great. So if someone wanted to follow in your shoes, what advice would you give them?
I think the best advice I'd give them is just work hard. I mean, that's all I ever did. I started working when I was 17 and a half at a dealership, and all I ever did was just sort of make sure that, just focus on working hard first, and don't worry about so much about putting yourself out there and say, hey, look at me. Do something, work, build something, and let people judge what you work for who you are. And, I mean, if you build something really cool, that's great. But there's going to be someone else who can build something really cool too, so don't think that makes you, unreplaceable or very, very special. Just keep building stuff. That's all you can do. Just keep working hard. If you work hard and you prove that what you do is what you say you can do, then just let your work speak for itself, no matter what you're doing, whether you're going to be a welder or a fabricator, a mechanic, or an accountant. Just work hard. And that's what speaks for who you are as a person.
That's so soothing. So for you, being 11 years now, has that just been your persistence?
That's all I do is I work. Yeah. It's kind of funny because at work we got executives who sit up front and worry about things, and they'll always worry. They'll say, "We're worried that you're putting in really late hours." But for me, I'm fortunate. If I feel stressed out or I get worried about something in life, I weld tube. That's what I do. Or I go and I bend tube, or I build something, or I cut a trunk apart. That, to me, that's my form of relaxation. Some people it's golfing, some people it's sitting on a beach. My version of relaxation is getting to build something. So if I'm working, last year I had to get the WD-40 Jeep. We actually started that in September and had to have it done for SEMA. And that was, it was 18-hour days. So, but to me, those are work days, but it's not really, it's work, but to me it's a relaxing work. So it doesn't bother me if I have to work 20 hours days.
What's the old saying? If you enjoy what you're doing every day, you're not really working.
It is true, and it's absolutely true. It's more the fact that if what you're doing is not just enjoyment, if you find it relaxing, it'll never be work, ever.
So for you over these 11 years in this career, what roadblocks have you run into that others might find valuable?
I think probably the one thing that I think most people who are trying to get into any career are going to find is you're going to find people who they don't want to hire you because you don't have experience, or they don't want, it's that old catch-22, right? You can't be hired because you don't have experience, but if you don't have the experience, how can you be hired?
Right.
And I think 90% of it, you just got to find ways around that. You just got to, I remember the first job I had as a mechanic, I wanted to work as a mechanic. I'd worked at a dealership, that dealership had closed, so I was out of work. And I went to another dealership to get a job, and he said, well, you've only been at that dealership for a month, I don't know what you can do. And I just said, hey, just hire me for a week and don't pay me. I'll bring my toolbox in here and I'll work for the week, and if you don't like what I do, just send me home and don't give me a paycheck. If you don't, there's nothing wrong with working just to work and just proving your point. If you can prove that you can do it, then just go out from there.
Good advice. Finish this sentence.
Uh-oh.
Metalcloak is.
Metalcloak is. Oh, man. I'd say Metalcloak is just, it's going to sound corny, but it's just good stuff. It's made in the USA. It always fits well. Never had issues with it. I've used it on a bunch of projects. So I would just say Metalcloak is good stuff.
Metalcloak is good stuff.
There you go.
We'll quote you.
You can't put that anywhere in print.
Disclaimer.
Yeah.
Jump forward 5 years. What does your future look like?
I hope to still be doing what I'm doing. I want to keep building cars and cutting stuff up, and as I said, I will make TV until they tell me that I'm not allowed to make TV anymore. I enjoy what I do, so, and then if the TV stops, I'll probably be still building Jeeps and buggies and trucks somewhere else. So that'll basically be the deciding factor on it. Is if they keep paying me to show up and make television, I'll keep making television.
It's an addiction.
That's right. Yep.
That's great. Well, working with you out there and doing that episode, because I've had the same thing. People have said to me, how does this show? Does Ian really do what he does? And it's great to see it and be able to testify that Ian is in there. He knows everything he's doing. He knows more than most of the guys standing around there. And I got schooled once or twice. And you're really doing it. And I was there 3 days to film those 17 minutes, and I know you were working other days, other hours to finish some of the stuff that we had started.
Yeah, we work basically year-round. It doesn't stop. Everyone asks that, when does your season start and stop? But it doesn't stop. This is Sunday. I'll fly out of here at 3 o'clock. I'll get back at 11 o'clock on the East Coast. I'll get up at 6:30 tomorrow morning, drive my son to school, and then I'll be welding in the shop tomorrow at 8 a.m. So
right.
we don't stop. It's a job. But it's fortunate for me, like I said, I enjoy working in a shop, so to me it's the perfect job. If you wanted my job because you like to go four-wheeling, it'd be the worst job in the world. That's just the truth. You're not going to get to go four-wheeling every day. It doesn't happen. You're not. It's not Guy. You're not Guy Fieri. I look like him, but I'm not him. I don't have other people cooking my food. I don't have other people doing stuff. No one's delivering my Camaro around the world to show up at a diner. You're in there. You're cutting. You're grinding. You're welding. You're unbolting stuff. You're planning the next projects. You're meeting with the sales guys. Talk about what's going to happen next. It just doesn't stop. But for me, I love it, so it doesn't matter.
How often are you somebody call you Guy?
Not enough, because I'm still trying to get a free meal out of it. But I don't think my hair is white enough, and I don't wear enough jewelry.
Not enough tattoos.
Yeah, and I need more like armbands and.
Do you have any tattoos?
No. Nowadays, I'm more original because I don't have a tattoo. That's my theory. And I'm lucky too, because when I was 16, I almost got like the Guns N' Roses cross on my arm, but the guy wouldn't do it because I didn't have ID, and I'm very thankful for that to this day. That would have been a bad day.
That's one of those shows where they remove the tattoos?
Yeah, that would have been me. Yeah, absolutely.
So you've been here since yesterday, or
yep.
You got here what? Friday?
Friday.
Walking around the show. So tell us about the show.
Off Road Expo is always a good show because it's a good mix of everything. You got sand cars, UTVs, Jeeps, trucks. It's a good barometer for the industry as a whole. So yesterday, just the basic fact this place was packed sort of tells me that things are good. And that's a good thing. I think it was as busy as it was 10 years ago, which is nice.
Nice.
So I think it's coming back. I think the JK is doing well, and I think it's probably even going to be even bigger because now that new model coming out next year, I think people will be less afraid to cut their JK in half now. So I think in the next couple of years we're going to see some pretty cool JK builds for sure.
Nice. Hopefully we'll be doing some of those.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll probably do one or two.
That's great. Well, Ian, thanks for coming out here. It's been fun talking with you.
Anytime, Matson. You know that.
Oh, before we go, real quick, 2 favorite products you've seen out here.
2 favorite products, I would say. Well, I don't know about products, but things I've seen that in that Voodoo booth, they've got that crazy Can-Am that they've converted over to, it's got 33-inch tall tires on it. That thing was absolutely insane. And then probably, I don't know, I'm not a UTV guy, but that Yamaha UTV with the actual transmission in it instead of the golf cart belt,
yeah.
I think that's going to be a game changer for sure.
Well, did you see the Baja Razor?
Yes.
In Rugged Radio's booth?
Yes. Oh, that thing. I've been following that on Instagram for months, man.
That's crazy.
That's great. Apparently, that's got so much play that he's going to do one of every model next year. So it's pretty trippy.
Wow.
Trippy. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thanks again, Ian.
Anytime.
Take care.
Right on.
This podcast will self-destruct in 5, 4, 3, 2,